let's move on to somewhat of a less controversial topic, yet obviously still legal ease topic. Mary Wanya arrest. I had to, y'all. I'm sorry. The pun was right there. I just couldn't resist. So Wanya Morris and sorry, I'm not going to say your name to butcher it on here. So I'm just going to say the international pathway player, who is also an offensive tackle, were arrested last Friday in Johnson County, Kansas, for marijuana possession. So even though it's no longer a banned substance in the NFL, nor is it illegal here in the state of Missouri, where Lonnie and I are located, it is in fact still illegal to possess in the state of Kansas. So, Dale, what punishment do you think both of these players will face? And will this ultimately cost Wanya of the starting left tackle spot?
I would say this. I don't think they're going to get in any trouble with the NFL for sure. Now, will there be a conversation with the Chiefs organization and all the people that is in the higher positions for that team? More than likely. Maybe they can do like a community service, but I wouldn't punish him for something that honestly that you can legally carry. We know it doesn't do anything for you, like making you it's not a banned substance or anything like that for the NFL. And also, it's becoming what it's getting on that list of like a non-violent drug as well too. So really, when you go into like the politics of that situation, really he shouldn't face any problems. Now, could it affect him getting a starting spot with the Chiefs? I say it's a possibility just because you got a second rounder in Kingsley who is coming in and looked at as one of the top tackles coming out of the draft, and also someone that was able to slip to us and who is of a descent where it comes from a lot of people from a family background, a football background, some dogs at that. So he's coming in knowing that, hey, I'm trying to get that position now. Something that you was doing last season, you had an opportunity once Donovan Smith was injured as well, and you was able to step in, and we start having a conversation of, should we go ahead and just go with you instead of Donovan Smith before you got injured? So the same thing can happen in this situation where you kind of killed yourself, killed yourself with the coaches of being unreliable. Because say if it's in the middle of the regular season and you have that situation and you're arrested, say if you do that before a game and you're not able to even get out on time, nobody, sometimes though, they think about that ahead of time. They're looking like, how reliable will this individual be? So in that case, that's what I'm worried about for Wanya, because he was going to battle, and for sure he was going to be on the 53-man roster as well. He still will be on the 53-man roster. It's just in this case, will you be the starting left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs? And a lot of us was already arguing that maybe come week one, that wasn't going to be the case because of that second round left tackle that we grabbed already. So to keep it short, I don't think he would get any legal. Well, of course he's gonna get in trouble with Kansas because it's illegal in there, but maybe it's a fine depending on how much he had as well too. But now with the limits that they have, you gotta look like you actually, how can I say it, Pablo Escobar or something like that. So I'm sure you're not moving like that. So it's no worries within that situation. So more than likely it's just like, hey, let's see what the coaching staff think of you and see if they're okay with you still have that trust for you to be the starting left tackle this upcoming season.
Yeah, and I would just say, and the fire continues to grow as we continue to talk, as we can see. The controversy does not stop. Like Dale said, it's not a banned substance by the NFL. It's a non-violent drug. It's decriminalized in Missouri, in legal in Missouri. However,
actually, it's completely legal recreationally.
Okay, well, recreationally legal. Okay, well, yeah, recreationally legal in Missouri, but just not in Kansas. Know where you're at. Know what you're doing. When you're towing that line. Nevertheless, just really leave it alone. To make a matter worse, I feel like this is just what it is. Situations compounding on top of situations. But I don't think he'll face any trouble. Wanya Morris, that's Wanya Morris and Godrick. I don't think neither one of these guys will face any trouble with the NFL. Maybe some classes or different things that they'll make you take for dabbling with the substance of this manner. And as far as him not costing him the position, I don't think anything like this can cost you a position, especially when we're going into a season where we're trying to find the left tackle that's going to call that position home for probably the next couple years. So I don't believe it'll cost him the position. I think he'll still be in a very heated position battle with Kingsley or whoever that is there. I don't think just this one situation with some marijuana will cost him a shot at being the starting left tackle if his game and his play dictates that. I think the Chiefs are going to go with the best available at that position. That is a super duper important position, in a position that like I said, has been a rotating door for us. So I think Wanya still has a chance to win the position, and I think he still is the starter as of right now. Until we go and see some reps from Kingsley live against some of those really, really good pass rushers to the likes of Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, I don't want to just put him at that starting role yet. So I think Wanya still has the position. I still think he's still going in as the starter. I think his play and how he comes into the season, if he's ready or not, if he's been having all of these off-season distractions or having the munchies too much, and comes in a little bit overweight, if that may dictate him losing the position, but if that's not the case, then I think Wanya Morris still has his starting position. Honestly,
That's
they
what they
trusted
could
him a lot
question
last
though.
year.
That's what they could question.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple things I missed staying in the opening part. So they were both arrested for misdemeanor marijuana possession. They were booked and released early Friday morning. It's obvious that both these players are at the Chiefs OTAs right now, and we'll mention a little bit of that as our last segment. But they have to appear in court literally the day after this mini session of OTAs is done. So that's the only reason that they got that leeway, and it's on one of the days off because they already knew their schedule, and Johnson County worked very closely with that and worked kind of with the Chiefs in that way to make it so that it didn't affect them too much. I don't see them getting into too much legal trouble with it, and especially in terms of NFL or any suspensions or things like that. I don't think that's very likely. It does put a red mark on their record unless they try to get it expunged and do like a diversion program or something like that to try to get that off. But you got to know your surroundings and the local rules and stuff like that. If that's what you're interested in, there was 10 miles over the state line where you could have done it and completely fine. But the location where you chose is why you're in trouble, and it's why it's a news story. So both of you guys think that Morris is in a spot to keep his job. I think I'm on the other side in the argument that depending on the tenure of player, right? Because Andy Reid is not going to cut Harrison Butker based on the stuff that came out. And I'm not saying he's going to cut Wanya Morris either. Will the international player Godrick survive this season? You could argue probably not, especially with the number of offensive linemen the Chiefs carry and whether or not he's worth it as a player to carry on the practice squad, having this tainted on his resume, so to say. I'm not saying that Wanya is going to get cut by any means, but I think at this point, Andy Reid might feel a little better about Kingsley because he knows the type of player and person that he is. And we've heard the hype. Louis Riddick was hyped about Kingsley and thought that he was going to be a star. So I think it's worth mentioning that Andy Reid does not like drama and storylines around his football team if he can help it. And a kicker he can get away with, a second year left tackle. Rashee Rice still has his trouble, and we'll talk about how much trouble he's actually in versus what was initially reported. But it's worth considering that this may have shifted Andy Reid's mind just a little bit to see a little bit more in Kingsley, and during this OTA period, getting to see him a little closer during that rookie mini camp portion, and just to have more exposure of Kingsley, whereas it took Wanya a little bit to finally appear and be able to practice with the Chiefs. So it still could very well be Wanya's job to lose, but I don't think these type of storylines and the drama that it's created is putting him favorably with the coaching staff. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, if you listen to my boy, I was down the middle. That's why I said it's like, hey, like we're not releasing them at all or doing anything. It's just you give your coaching staff more questions to think about. And if you think they're not going to question that at all, you a fool, because they take all of that into account. When you're in the position of making this type of money in the National Football League, this is what guys are talking about who are now post their NFL career, is trying to really tell these young guys and let them know. You do have to watch how you do things. You do have to watch how you operate. Now, I know that sometimes some players could be controversial, but it depends on the controversialness of that particular matter. If you're in the media for always getting in trouble, like we're dealing with for Rashee Rice and now Wanya Morris, you're dealing with that's a different cause of a conversation where it's like, hey, bro, like, what are you doing? Because you can end up putting yourself in position to where, hey, you can have a Michael Vick situation where you're missing time and going to prison or this for 3 or 4 years. Guess what that does to us? That puts us in a bind. We got to worry about that down the line. Now, if you're going out here and you're acting like Kyrie Irving, saying some things about Jews sometimes, saying you watch this movie and all this other stuff, it's like, bro, can you like chill out? But you can't go to jail for that. You're not going to be taken away from the game for that. It's just you're going to have more people that dislike you. And then you're bringing that type of attention to the organization. But like at the same time, they used to hate as well too. So it's just, you have to watch out for what's going on. But y'all know I like to refer to this player all the time when it comes to marijuana charges. Dwayne Bowe. Didn't really affect him, and it was worse during that time. So Wanya, you should be fine for real. It's just more of you are coming off of your rookie year, and you spoke about tenure, Clinton. You can't be doing that. You're young. You're trying to like fight for a contract. You're trying to be someone who has that, up to 15 to 20 a year. You may not be at that stage right now, but depending on your level of play, you want to like solidify the bag for the future. Rashee Rice killing himself with endorsements. Like, yeah, you probably didn't. You're still in your rookie contract, but bro, you could have had an outside bag just before you being a champion. Your likeness as well too. You have the look for it. I mean, for real, you getting in this type of trouble, it just doesn't help you at all, and that's it.
Be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. If you enjoyed that, make sure to check out the full-length episode below.